We return now to your regularly scheduled programming. Just Bleed Radio's Just Banter. Really?
All right, well let's move this thing along. Let's you brought up some fighters there, so this is a perfect transition. Let's move it along to the next portion of today's show, and we're going to transition into what would usually be the fight fandom segment. However, with Ant being our guest, I think we'll do things a bit differently. And the reason for that is because you, sir, are not just a veteran fan of the fight game, but also a longtime employee of it. So we will talk fight fandom, but we got to ask some behind-the-scenes questions too. Okay, let's kick it off with the softball, though. You kind of touched on this one earlier. You brought up the boxing tapes and the UFC tapes. So that was kind of your initial, entrance into the combat sporting world and fandom.
Yeah.
What about it exactly drew you in? Did you just like to see the guys, pounding each other's faces in? Was it the competition, the physicalness? What?
Oh wow, this is actually kind of a deep one for me. So I've had my girlfriend. She's like, there's a lot of other things you can be into. Why are you into this? And my answer's like, I thought about it. Like, it's not the violence. I know we all get excited when there's, Ilya Taporia, starches someone because it's so dramatic. But if you really think about which fights, and I've been to, I think at one point I worked out I've been to 120 UFC events, including fight nights and stuff like that. I think it's about 120. On top of that, I probably attended like probably 300 boxing shows. Anything from Lennox Lewis at, Madison Square Garden, Prince Nazim, Ricky Hatton. I worked with Ricky Hatton. I saw like, I think 20 of Ricky's fights from ringside. I've been very lucky. But notice something. So somewhere along the line, I can't remember what specific fight was. Somewhere along the way, I noticed the biggest cheers of the night always happened when one fighter was getting absolutely the crap beaten out of him and then turned it around.
Yeah.
That would always get the biggest cheer. The biggest cheer during a fight. And this got to be unknown people. Now, they would cheer even louder if it was their favorite fighter, and their favorite fighter would be a champion or a world title challenger, a former champion. But they would cheer almost as much when that happened between two guys they'd never heard of, or two girls women they never heard of. And what it is they're cheering for is in combat sports, you get to see courage, you get to see bravery, and we don't get to see that. Different types of courage. I mean, you might know someone who's overcoming an illness. You might know someone who's stoic and carries on in the face of being a cancer diagnosis. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about physical courage. When they're in danger, fighting through pain, you can see physical courage right in front of you. And I wrote an article a long time ago. I think I wrote it for Boxing Monthly, which used to be available on WH Smith and Boxing Monthly are both gone. But I wrote an article saying, it's hilarious how sports commentators talk about the bravery of someone performing in a penalty shootout in a football game. It's hysterical how, we're supposed to laud the courage and courageousness of a tennis player who defends 3 match points. You don't need brave, you just need concentration and nerve. It ain't courage. In fighting, when Johnny Hendricks and Robbie Lawler were knocking the shit out of each other, that required courage. Because like Chael Sonnen, I'm name dropping like crazy, I know, forgive me. But Chael Sonnen was like, he told me once, he's like, every single second you think, what, I'm okay, I can quit. I'll forgive myself if I quit. I can pull out. And almost every fight, if you really don't talk to them when they've got a fight coming up, because what they tend to do is strip away from their psyche as much as they can the part that gets fearful, the part that is realistic. You're going to fight someone like Alex Pereira. What you don't think is he knocks everybody out. He's probably going to knock me out. What you think is he ain't going to hit me. He ain't going to hit me. He's fought all these bums. He never fought me before. And if he does land one or two, it won't hurt me. I'm tougher. You have to have this like self-delusion. But during the fight, over and over, there's an opportunity, especially in MMA, like again, Chael said, like in MMA, in boxing, taking a dive is hard. Look at going back a generation, but Mike Tyson fought a guy called Bruce Seldon. Some people called him Bruce Seldon because he never fought very often. but Bruce ducked a punch and pretended it hit and basically fainted. And then when it was obvious the referee was going to wave it on, he started like basically staggering around like he was in Lord of the Dance, pretending he was hurt because he didn't want any more. He was just scared to death, which is a natural human response. But, he was also a world heavyweight champion, allegedly. It was hard. He was never taken seriously again. It was over. Even like Vitaly Klitschko, as great a fighter as he was, he pulled out of a fight he was winning against Chris Bird in the 10th round because the ringside doctor says, like, you've torn your rotator cuff. I can see the tear. You're risking the use of your arm. So Vitaly was like, okay, I'll just get a rematch and I'll fight again when I've got two arms. And he was called Klitschko, and it took the unbelievably bloody fight with Lennox Lewis for him to shape this idea that he was a coward, which is insane. But it's hard to fake pulling out of a fight or quitting in boxing. It's much easier in MMA. It's much. Who really knows if that heel hook was on? Only you do. Who knows if you had to tap from that choke, or if you had 10 seconds more of struggling in you? No one knows, only you know. So it's like Chael actually said, like, it's so seductive, the idea I could just dive in here with my neck up, pretend he gets choked, and this can all be over in seconds, and no one will be any the wiser. And in MMA, you get to see guys have these questions pop up constantly in their head and go, no, I ain't doing that. No, I'm fighting. No, I'm going to fight. No, I'm going to keep going. And to me, that's why combat sport, like I have zero interest in football, in soccer, cricket, even the Olympics. I mean, I'm somewhat interested in people who can run really, really fast, but nothing comes close to combat sports for me. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it though. It's that triumph really of the human will and the perseverance, but it's almost over oneself more than it is the opponent.
Yeah,
exactly.
Talking of fear, obviously, another guy from the area you know fairly well from your time with Michael Bisping got Tom Aspinall, our new heavyweight champion from England, and he always talks about how scared he is before he gets into the cage. Yeah,
he's great that he actually says it, because I did a tweet once where I did an article on this and about how the physiological aspects. I spoke to a really smart guy called Dr. Patrick Tissington from Birmingham University, and he was a consultant for the SAS about how to get the troops SAS ready for the crazy stuff they do. And SAS for Americans is basically like the British Delta Force, but just tougher and better. And he was telling about the physiological effects of being terrified. It was like being scared is a superpower. So it doesn't matter if he was on a school round fight or a fight outside a kebab shop, at 2 a.m., which I had a few back in the day, or going on a first date, or, the cops pulling you over. You probably have that feeling of butterflies in your stomach, yeah? You probably both have those.
Yeah.
Well, what that is, it was explained to me, is your brain is shutting down necessary functions, and your digestive system takes a ton of energy. And what your brain's doing is saying, don't need to digest right now. I need all that energy. I'm going to divert that to the muscles to either run away from this threat or fight it. And it doesn't matter if it's a first date. It'll still happen because it's a high stress situation. Your body only recognizes one high stress: danger. That's what it is. It's danger. It's like, no, I'm just meeting a hot chick from work, for drinks. I don't need my digestive system shut down right now. But, you've heard fighters say, oh, I didn't mean to hit him after the bell. I didn't hear the bell. I'm like, what do you mean? I was in the cheap seats. I heard it. What? How come you didn't hear it? Well, like this guy explained to me, one of the non-essential things when the danger is right in front of you in the form of like a Tom Aspinall or a Michael Bisping or Anderson Silva is it'll shut your hearing off when it recognizes you don't need it. It'll shut your hearing off so you don't get distracted from the danger that's right in front of you. Your muscles swell. You get shivers because the blood is diverted away from your skin to your organs and soaks deep inside your muscles to make your muscles literally stronger. We're all familiar with adrenaline, but there's all these different processes that happen to the body to get you fighters ready for a fight. And like Forrest Griffin once told me, he's like he hated that feeling of the butterflies so much he like meditated all day. On the day of the fight with Rampage Jackson when he was challenging for the light heavyweight UFC title. I think UFC, 84, 86, somewhere around there. And he was so effective at calming himself down. He was walking to the octagon going, okay, body, where's my adrenaline? My heart rate needs to go up. Where's my dump? Where's that adrenaline I ordered? I'm fighting a really scary guy in about 4 minutes. And it took him until Rampage hitting him before that activated. And then, okay, thank God, here comes the edgy nerves, here comes the adrenaline. So it's weird that you say I love that Tom Aspinall has these open conversations while he's still active. Usually you can, like Chael will say it, Bisping will say it now, but they're years removed. Whereas when you're fighting, usually fighters just want to pretend they're invincible. And it's really gratifying and ingratiating that Tom doesn't. But I tweeted something like this once, and that imbecile clown John Kavanagh was basically saying, how dare you say fighters are afraid? They're doing things that you've never done. And this kind of like, John, you are slicker. Go give cover to your rapist friend.
Yeah. If you don't feel fear, you're basically a sociopath or a psychopath to extreme levels.
Yeah.
To not feel that kind of any emotion.
Well, but it's not a psychopath, so there is a scientific name for it, which I forget.
Sociopath is probably more appropriate.
Yeah, but Chuck Liddell is one of them. Chuck Liddell genuinely doesn't feel fear.
Yeah,
like genuinely doesn't. His heart rate just doesn't go up. And that's why he's the Iceman.
Yeah.
There's about it's more people than you think. It's like literally 1% of the population, 1 in 100 of us, don't experience this adrenaline dump. One of them was that lunatic who climbed El Capitan, the vertical face.
Yeah.
He's one of them. Like they rigged him up.
Alex Honnold.
There you go. Absolute lunatic. Climbed something that's virtually unclimbable, even with ropes, and he did it with no ropes. But his heart rate just doesn't go up because of this. So there's pros and cons, With Chuck Liddell, he didn't get that adrenaline surge. But he also has more energy and can conserve more energy and is clearer-eyed because he's not afraid. He's like, oh, shit. That's why, Chuck was okay with people rushing in with punches because A, he had that counter-punching style and big power, but B, he just wasn't feeling afraid in the way that even other UFC fighters would.
Would that explain perhaps why some fighters don't get going until they get punched?
Yes. You've got to imagine, so there's 600-700 UFC fighters. That means there's at least 6 or 7 of them who just have this weird abnormality.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it takes him getting punched in the face to get going, but it kind of sounds almost like a Merab Dvalishvili sort of a thing where, like we've seen at the Sphere, they had that stupid fucking sensor in the mouthpiece to test the resting heart rate, and they were saying, his is record low. He seems like that kind of guy that the levels just stay very fucking steady, and so does the cardio.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, Merab, I think Merab probably is the fittest UFC fighter. So kind of like Bisping. At one point, Bisping had a resting heart rate, I think, of 37 beats a minute.
That's crazy.
Which if I went to the hospital or you went to the hospital tonight and we had a 37 heartbeat, like they would admit there's no questions asked, like you're staying here overnight. Something's wrong with your heart, but so he was that fit. But Merab's got that too. Just does not get tired.
An athlete you'll know, Sebastian Coe. I think he had a resting heart rate in the high 30s, early 40s.
Yeah, but Seb Coe, championship long distance runner.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't even be as big as Merab, much less as big as Bisping. Imagine, having that same resting heart rate, but Bisping walks around at at the time walked around like 200, 220 pounds. I mean, he was 230, fat bastard, when he got the call to fight with Rockhold. Just
before going any further, can I just ask one quick question? I looked on Topology, and there is an Ant Evans, bought out of Manchester. So I have to ask, is that you?
No.
It's not you.
But I've been asked this multiple times. No.
Okay.
No. I'd be tempted to lie, but apparently he's really crap and he keeps losing. So.
Oh, shit.